All right, hello guys. This is the August Business Clinic. Very special setup and group of people. Three people are a group of people. Um, just want to say, like, if you starting anything new, and like this is not new, but it has me remember. I probably Sammy. I don't know. Maybe you still remember when I did the business group. I don't know if it was like, no, it was the EBA, the Exponential Business Accelerator Facebook group. And the very first one, I had one person, then we had two people, then probably three or four, and then like just we slowly built up. And um, this kind of like reminds me to that. Uh, those were amazing times as well. And a smaller group is not worse than a bigger one. A smaller one means, hey guys, you're gonna get more coaching and we can dive deep into something. We already had an amazing conversation with Gary before this, behind the curtains, before I start or hit the record button. Uh, Gary, would you tell us what would you like to gain out of this group session today?
hmm Yeah, so in my
Maybe
business,
introduce
I'm a
yourself a little bit first.
yeah. So in my business, I'm a therapist specifically for neurodivergent people and people that have had relational CPTSD. And part of that business is having consultation calls with people, free consultation calls where they can get to know me, I can get to know them, see if we're the right fit. And as part of that, of course, you get to the end of the call and there's a decision to be made where they can book you or not. And for me, because I don't have much of a sales background or experience at all, I don't really know the correct methods or procedures or ways of going about that to make that more likely to happen, to help them make a decision that would benefit them ultimately. So I was asking about, or what I wanted to get from this session was little tips and turns of phrase and things that I can use to help people towards that go from a prospect to a client basically during that conversation naturally, rather than it being a typical like stereotypical sales speak thing where they feel like they're being sold on something, where it's more just we're speaking, getting to know each other, but I can incorporate sales naturally into that. That would be really useful for me.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Great. Samuel, I would love to hear from you as well. What would be great to get out of this session today?
Firstly, if you can't hear me, then let me know. Um, but yeah, what would be fantastic to get out of this is actually very similar in a way to what Gary's just shared. What I'm finding, or what I currently find, is um, people are very attuned, not even attuned, perhaps you know what it is. People are very cynical, so they may hear something in a conversation and they may think an invite into a further stage is being sold on something. They think that I want to sell them something when actually I don't. I simply am offering them and they can say yes or no. So I'd love to get out of this discussion perhaps how to handle the objection or how to handle the unspoken thing that the prospect is not going to share with me in the moment on the call, so I don't have the great insights afterwards.
Okay, so is this at a specific part of the enrollment process?
Mm. So for me, it's right after connecting with an individual for the first time, and essentially me being a coach saying, "Hey, would you like a discovery call, or would you like to go to the next step?" That's when I feel the I'm being sold things like flag up to people in their mind.
Okay, Brilliant. Great. Thank you. And so for you guys to kind of line up the language and learn from each other, I think this is going to be great because we have similar processes and similar requests, which going to have similar like principles of how to tackle it or what works, but we have slightly different processes and slightly different part of the enrollment or sales process, right? So to understand better for you, Gary, and maybe anyone who is watching, the way we are building the business with Samuel, that's the same way I do for most cases, right? There are sometimes now I bend the rules and mixing up things, but basically the way we're building is called social selling, which means that we generate leads from our network by inviting them into a connect call where we connect human to human, no business involved other than getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. Then we offer, so that's a small sell, a small offer, if you like. We offer a discovery call. And that word offer is going to be very important because that's different than sell, right? I myself, I see it as a sell because I see selling as offering instead of how we used to experience sales, right? So it's going to be part of the discussion. So we offer a discovery call. If they say yes to the discovery call, that's going to be similar, I suppose, than the consultation for you. Because in consultation, as a therapist, you don't do therapy for them, right? Mm-hmm. You explore what's going on for them and what they want. Mm-hmm. Is that correct, more or less?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, more or less. So to kind of like align the language and understand how this works in service-based industries, and to understand like I'm doing this with a corporate team who sells security, like they do the same thing, just instead of talking about things in a therapy context, they talk about things about in your security needs context. Mm-hmm. So this discovery call is what's the consultation call for you. Now, what we do with Samuel is after that, if it makes sense, there is another offer, right? So this is like a series of increasing offers, right? Mm. And another offer is the experience call, is when they get a free coaching session, right? Mm-hmm. And if it makes sense, if we aligned, we make another offer, and the offer is to work together on a longer term, and we discuss that. Okay, so we just before we hit the record button, we had a conversation with Gary that you sell shorter packages, like 4 to 6 long packages, different than longer packages, 3, 6 months, 12 months packages. When you sell bigger packages, you need a longer lead up time because simply the trust and the value up front needs to be bigger for people to make a bigger leap, a bigger investment. It's that simple. When you share smaller packages, people can make that leap easier because the leap is smaller, right? That's why I find it's easier to sign up people for a lower package group program because the leap is smaller, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to clear up some of the languages and the processes. And as far as I understand your current processes, something that we explored with you is that referrals work really well for you because people understand what you do, they see the value, they can easily recommend you to others. So that's an avenue we are working on with you currently. And then what you do, you offer consultations, which is similar as discovery call. And then once they say yes, there is like a digital form that they can basically book in the session and be onboarded. So it's like currently a way simpler and shorter onboarding process for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So Samuel, how have you been doing with practicing your discovery offer?
Do you mean in person or in front of a mirror or with ChatGPT?
Whichever.
Okay. I want to answer them all now. So l- in front of a mirror, as in reciting it to myself, yeah, that's something that I'm literally doing. So I get fluid with it. It rolls off my tongue. That's way better. I'm also continuing to train myself with ChatGPT, and I'm not at a stage yet where I'm say getting 5 out of 5 all the time. So I'm I'm getting clear on what the gaps are. So that's great. I suppose all of that said, I now want to put it into practice more with real people in real situations. And I'm just very aware that people hear a word or a phrase they haven't heard before. And my experience, this may be different for you or for Gary, but my experience is that someone hears something they haven't heard before and they think I'm being sold something.
Mm.
Even though it may benefit them, they think, oh, what's that? And they think they're being sold something. So they back away. And that's what I want to kind of get past. In fact, I often think, is it better to not mention the word discovery because that gets people's backs up? And that's something that I want to explore. Is like, should I not mention that word? Does that word trigger people?
Okay. So thank you. That's really good. First of all, I want to acknowledge you, right? We all we are students, me included. All of us here are students, right? I'm learning all the time. I have gaps all the time. Okay. So what I want to acknowledge in you is that you practice, right? You practice in front of the mirror. That's a great way. I remember when I became a coach and I learned actually from Rich Litvin to how to propose your number. He said, and he wrote in his book, The Prosperous Coach, to practice front of the mirror, practice on the street as you walk. And later, that's what I did. I was walking and the investment is £3,000 to work with me for 6 months. The investment is £3,000 to work with me for 6 months. I was just like reciting like a phone number. So when I got there, I was able to just say it and shut up, right? So then what we're using with Samuel, uh, one of my mentors, he created a chat GPT, but you can use to some degree like the generic chat GPT as well to kind of, you can ask it to give you feedback, but obviously like this one is designed for that. We are using that to practice and offer, right? And the reason we do that is so again, when we say it, we sound confident, because the truth is, before we put in enough rep, we just don't feel confident because we haven't done it enough. It's not like what we offer is not valuable. We just not feeling confident because the practice is not behind it. Okay. On the reverse, if the practice is behind it, even if we maybe mindset wise not there yet, that practice can hold us up with some mindfulness and presence. If we practice mindfulness and presence while we are in that high pressure situation, right? So the other thing I want to share for you, Samuel, is that I don't have that experience now. Now, I would have had that experience before. And I see that the same thing, it has been a journey for me with money as well, to be able to just talk about money and ask about, like, how much do you earn? How much would you like to earn? Um, and 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 talk about all the objection things and be able to be in that space we just haven't got used to. So one of the best thing we can do is, one, practice. Two is put ourselves in some sort of safety while we do it. So breathe and be mindful. Third is put the prospect into some sort of safety. Now, I'm curious, Samuel, in what ways could you create safety while you're making an offering?
So at the start of the call, I can get them to breathe. At any point throughout the call, and I suppose even before the offer, I can, tell them, ask them, hey, if you have any questions on this, or if this doesn't make sense, or if you feel we're going too fast, all of these variations, I can say, you can stop me and I'll explain. I can check in with them at many different points all the time, almost overkill it if need be. That's one way that I would ensure the client or the prospect really feels safe, so that they're open with me, so that they can share whatever is present for them.
And you would do this in the connect call?
I would do this at the end of a connect call. I wouldn't do it intentionally, but I feel like that is what has to be done. Almost, it has to be intentional, perhaps, because you have to build trust. You have to build a rapport.
Yeah. So here's something very interesting. So a connect call is about the relationship, and sometimes, if we try to overkill the safety, it actually can bring in that feeling of, something is about to come. So what I'm noticing right now is maybe there is this, like, angst around offering the discovery right now for you, and actually it's coming through the energy, right? So I in the connect call, I wouldn't breathe, I wouldn't do these kind of things, because it's like you meeting with someone on a networking event or on the street. I wouldn't ask someone to breathe with me, although it would be really beneficial for them. And I wouldn't say
Yeah.
them like, hey, if I share something too much, stop me. Like, oh, what are you going to share? Like suddenly people have their guards up. So it's very, very simple, right? So first of all, a good invitation have three three aspects, right? A good invitation is direct, it's valuable, and safe. It's direct, valuable, and safe. Or maybe the other way around is better. It's safe, valuable, and direct, right? Uh, Interestingly, we talked about leadership with Gary just today, and it's the same thing. Like, an offer, a sales, is a leadership moment. And in that leadership moment, we create safety and we direct and we offer something, right? Simply put, that's a good, authentic sales conversation or sales offer. It's a direct, valuable offer that's safe. That's it, like transparently laid out. Gary, would you be my practice partner?
course.
Okay. And I would like Samuel to observe us from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Samuel, you good for that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Will do.
Okay, great. So Gary, we're gonna practice like we just had a connect call, which is just, we connected. I don't know if you remember the first time we had 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes or something. I think we had a longer one, but
Yeah.
the first time we connected. Okay. So we imagine this is towards the end of our connect call, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And just let me lead. I'm gonna be, in this case, the coach, but like this is just us meeting, and you're gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Gary, first of all, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm conscious of the time. We have around 2 minutes left. And before we go off, I would love to extend an invitation for you. I would love to offer something for you. So there is something I do call discovery call. I talk with people like yourself, literally all day, every day, all week, every week. And I hear the kind of things that people like you go through. I know the kind of questions to ask. Now, I would love to offer you a discovery call. This is not coaching. This is not me helping you. This is not sales. There is nothing to sell. And what I'm gonna promise to you is that by the end of the call, you will clearly see where you are at, where you want to be, and in what ways you could get there. So you will leave that conversation with one good insight and clarity. So I'm curious, is that something that you would like to take advantage of?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Brilliant. How is next Wednesday, 3 p.m. for you?
That sounds good.
All right, let me put that into the calendar. Next Wednesday, 3 p.m. I have your email. Boom, I sent it to you. You must have received an email in your inbox. Looking forward to speaking with you next Wednesday.
See you then.
It was great to speaking with you. See you soon.
See you, Viktor.
So, Gary, I would love to hear, how was it for you from your side? And honestly.
So the thing that I noticed is that you were being very warm and very creating a connection.
In what
And
way?
so you were saying, like, for example, lots of personal language. You're saying, like, I really enjoyed the conversation that we had. And you said, I loved at one point, I can't remember what it was. It was when you did the offer, when you said, I'd love to offer you a discovery call. So it's very like warm language to use with someone, which is suggesting connection between them. So that's the main thing that I immediately noticed. But then the other things I noticed is you were leading me gently towards like a question, basically at the end of it. So you were saying like, I noticed we did this, this has come up there. And then there was a bit where you were saying like, there are other people I've helped like you. Like I can help you with, you didn't exactly say what it was. You were just saying there are other people I've helped that have similar issues to you. So it was opening that up. And then that eventually led after you saying, like, this is not sales, I'm not selling you anything, but I can offer you this, So that process was clear, that it led to a question at the end of it rather than just going straight in with a question. It was leading up through connection and through warmth. And then even the question was, you said something, it was something like, I'm curious if that would be something you would be interested in, rather than I'm offering you this, yes or no. It was a lot softer, gentler than that.
And genuinely, I want you, not because I know we are in this call, likely you want to play along and you want to kind of like, be yes to this whole thing, like, and it might was the case, honestly, but so it would be a privilege for us if you could tell what was going through genuinely in your head throughout this invitation.
Yeah. The main thing that was going through my head is that I could hear that you weren't making any assumptions about me. So that, at least to me, from like a client prospect point of view, that's what makes me feel like you're trying to put me into a box and then sell me this thing. So you're saying, oh yes, almost like someone, yes, you have that problem. Well, then you need my course on blah blah blah. Like, there you go. You're in a box. Here's the package that I'm selling to you. You weren't doing that. You were avoiding doing that. So like the language that you were using, like saying you're going to extend an invitation to me, and then saying there are people like you that have gone through similar things that I've helped before, but you're not saying you are one of those people. You're just saying there's people like you that I have helped before, so I could help you, but you're not saying that
what was going
directly.
through in your head, especially I'm curious, like when you were about to answer, like were you genuinely a yes? Were you actually wanting to accept this?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then why?
Yeah, it's more because it seemed very authentic and genuine, that it's a human to human connection. That's how I felt it was coming across, with nothing. There was nothing obvious in it. There was no like direct statement of here you go, here's this, yes or no. It was the opposite of that. It was more stating things in a gentle way about how the call had gone and what we had achieved through it, and then just bringing up the topic gently of, I've worked with other people before that have dealt with similar problems to you. I'd like to offer you something. I'm curious, would you be interested in this? So that's what created the sense of warmth or authenticity and trust. There's no presumptions being made. So I think that, at least for me, is a trigger thing, is when I feel like someone on the other end of the call is being presumptuous about me. It like says to me I'm about to be sold something.
Yeah, and that speaks to something, is that a way where that we create safety for the other person is that we don't want to threaten their autonomy. Like people want to be in charge. Now we can still lead them gently, as you see, and that's the art of selling, to lead them gently. But we lead them by giving options. So it's like, do you want to do this or this? Then do you want to do this or this? Or then do you want to do this or this? And basically, we leading them in a way that they making the choice every step of the way. Now, it doesn't mean that they make the choice to the path that we would love them to make, but still kind of we leading them by giving them the choice, and they have the autonomy to do the choice whatever. And if we offer something in a way, and if we offer something that's valuable and in a way that is clear for them what we're offering, then they likely going to take or more likely to take the path that we essentially call our services or whatever we're selling. The other thing I noticed, and that's very human, is that even I know you took notes and you can watch back the recording and everything, but even then you couldn't remember what I said, but you remembered how you felt.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's very important. The script, I'm going to call it a script because now it's internalized, and I'm aware as I'm speaking, like in my mind, that fuck, like I didn't say it that way. So I'm kind of like, as I spoke, I naturally weaved it into what it came out. So it wasn't perfect on this side, but it was perfect enough. And I had enough practice that I still could deliver it well.
Yeah.
So So why the script is important is because then I'm able to deliver the kind of language, like this is an art of language as well. I'm able to deliver the language, and with the practice, I'm able to deliver with the kind of emotionality and kind of relaxation and confidence that it creates that kind of warmth in you. I could have said the same words, I'm sure, from a different kind of feeling state or a different kind of anxiety state that would have had you like just like wary about the whole thing.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, you can. I think you can feel if the person that you're speaking to is anxious about what they're offering or where it's going, then you pick it up as well.
And there is a level of anxiety. Like now it's lower, right? And the more I practice, it's lower. But even today, sometimes, worse days where I'm really hoping for someone, like, maybe there is a level of anxiety, but that's where, again, breathe and practice, breathe and practice. That will help to even like come across as relaxed and confident as you can, even when you have a bit of anxiety. And like the last 20% of relaxation and confidence will come from actually just doing it so many times that now it's like you know it like your phone number, or even better. Sometimes I need to think about my phone number.
Yeah.
Okay. Samuel, the microphone is yours. What did you observe and what did you learn from this?
Well, I've got so much from it that I feel like I need to look back at the recording to unpack all of it. But so I want to go into what I observed, because I definitely lost. I was getting so much from what was going on. It was almost like the observing became secondary. But I observed that you were practiced, you were skilled. What you were saying is something you've said thousands of times before. I observed that you said the word discovery call, but you spent like 90% of the time explaining what it was, why it would be beneficial, and putting Gary at ease with the words you used. And he I think there was something that jumped out to me when you said, yeah, I speak to people like you. And you said, yeah, at the start, I'd love to offer you this. I'd love to extend this invitation. So it's like that. It wasn't just something you were offering; it was something you'd love to offer, because of what you'd experienced in the call up to that point, as if almost if the call didn't go the way you wanted, you wouldn't offer them that. So you reached a certain point with Gary in the conversation to say at the end of it, I'd love to offer you this, and he picked up on that warmth. Um, so that's really what came through to me. And then Gary's observations afterwards, that was very reassuring, because I immediately thought, is he saying yes because it's a role play? But then he was like, he shared afterwards, he was saying yes because of how you made him feel, and the anxiousness. He pointed out, like, if you were anxious, he'd pick up on the anxiousness, and as a result would feel like he's perhaps being sold something because of feeling your anxiousness, that's really interesting. So those are the things that jump out to me.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing. And that's why I'm a big believer that quantity is important. And what I mean by that, or you can think about it as abundance, right? So if I'm having connect calls with people, if I have a reasonable abundance of connect calls, if I screw one up, I'm not going to be as hard on myself, right? Because I know I have another one. But the same applies to sales calls, right? So that's why having enough conversation is where I start. And the reality of it is that you're going to suck till you're going to suck less. That's the reality of it. And the best thing you can do is, again, to practice. Um, and the other thing that we talked about with Samuel, so there is the outer game and the inner game, right? So the outer game, as in, what's the practice, what's the mechanical stuff, is exactly what we talked about, the script, like all of those things. And what's the inner game, the mindset part of it, is the feeling that the feeling and the intention we go into a call with, right? And that we bring up in the call. So when I'm in a connect call, but this could be a sales call as well, right? I want to come from a place of connection, gratitude, service, and something that lately have helped me personally a lot is actually learning about discovery calls. And there is this book which I often bring up, The Gap Selling, because it talks about the gap, which is the gap between where you are, where you want to be, what people essentially buy, and talks about the discovery process, right? And it made me a better coach, because what I found is when I didn't want to bring people further, when I didn't want to get people somewhere, and I was literally just repeating in my head, okay, like, where is this person at? Where does this person want to get to? And I wanted to understand it for myself. I gave a better coaching experience. So I didn't want them to get to any insight or solution in the call. I just wanted to understand for myself, where are you now? Where do you want to get to? What's in the way? And they had bigger transformation on the other side, and they had a better coaching experience, because I didn't want them to bring them to a certain place. And so I find that even, let's say we're setting up a proposal call or sales call when, so for example, Gary, like we had this like consultation call, right? And maybe at the beginning of the consultation call, I set a frame. Again, it's very important what we do at the beginning of the call and at the end of the call. Those are two leading opportunities. So at the beginning of the call, I want to set the frame. At the end of the call, again, I want to complete the frame, set the date for the next step, whatever is the next step, right? So I want to explain what's the next. I want to explain basically at the beginning what's the next step, and at the end what's the next step, right? So at the beginning, it could sound something like this, that, hey, Gary, this is a consultation call, so I will be curious to hear from you who referred you to me, and what you heard about me, and I would love to learn all about yourself. And this is what this consultation call is really about, me as your, not your therapist, but me as a therapist at this moment of time, to really just understand whether we are a fit, and if we are a fit, to help both me and you to understand what is it and how it is that we potentially could work together, and in what areas of your life we could change. So I will have a process, and I will have certain questions that I will be asking for you from you. And if you have any questions to me, this will be a great opportunity for you to ask those as well. At the end of this conversation, I will ask if you liked our what we discussed today, and if you would like to essentially work together. How does that sound? So that last sentence, so I was winging this, I was trying to put everything I learned into your, like how I imagine a therapy setup would be. I don't know how I did with that. That last sentence, how does that sound? I find it magical because it essentially gives them back their authority and autonomy. Right? As soon as I ask, how does that sound? They have all the possibilities to say, I hate it, I love it, I have questions, I have reservations. And counterintuitively, that usually relaxes them and they are actually fine with it.
Mm.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did I do? How was
Yeah.
it for you to hear that?
Yeah. It's very useful to hear at the start. To me, in contrast, it's all really about questions and things. It's, you know, it's setting up the frame of we're here to learn about you. You know, this isn't about me. I'm here because I want to know about you. So it's making that connection. And then at the end, it was very much like summarizing everything that we've learned and how I can help you. As you said, how does that sound to you? Like you might even be saying, "Oh, I'd love for us to work together. How does that sound to you?" It's very, again, it's warm and it's open and it's not looking to them. At least it seems that you're not looking for a particular outcome. You're just asking them questions, which you did right from the beginning and said, basically set up the frame of I want to learn about you. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. So it's concurrent, it's congruent all the way through of I'm just asking you questions and it's up to you what what comes of it. So that to me is quite a good start and ending because it's the same thing that's going through all. You haven't changed the tactic or anything halfway through. You're still just doing the same thing, but at the end there is a call to action. There is a, do you think you'd like for us to work together? And it's asking them, would you like for us to work together? Not, I'm
And
going to offer you
I
this.
foreshadow. I
Mm.
I like to say I create transparency around it at the beginning. So actually, with that of sharing at the beginning, of at the end, I'm going to ask a question, right? I So then it won't be a surprise for them at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be like, oh, so this call was about. I mean, for you it's different because it's a consultation call. They already come
Yeah.
with it. So then, like one very important thing they're going to be is me asking what got you to this call. Like that's going to be the most important question to start with. And I even weaved that in. So if there is any kind of initiation from them, I want to ask about it. I want essentially them to explain to me, them to sell them to me of why
Mm-hmm.
they are on this call.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially, you asked what is an authentic way and like a authentic good way to sell. It's this. You
Mm-hmm.
lead and you lead with questions in a way that's clear, valuable, and safe. You kind of give them these options and you lead through those options. You lead them through those options. Uh, I made a small mistake. I don't know. Did any of you pick it up? I kind of corrected it afterward.
Mm-hmm.
I probably felt it, but I can't remember what it was, and you moved
What
on
what
very
what
quickly.
part was it? At the beginning, middle, end?
It was uh, it was it was in the middle.
Middle. What did you feel?
As
Was it like some kind of
a
sinking or
yeah, a
contraction?
lack of yeah, it was a lack of you were projecting a lack of clarity. So like I felt unease. I felt, yeah, I felt, yeah, unease, like a loss of. You were guiding me at the start. You kind of weren't guiding me in the middle. You were guiding me at the end.
Yeah. Then I made two mistakes. That's very good. That's very good because like I was thinking a lot like, oh, okay, how does it work in a therapy way? Like I didn't have I didn't have the kind of practice to say this, right? So I was a bit uncertain, and that uncertainty came through. And it's interesting, you again cannot tell the words, but you remember how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And
So
probably
can
I
I?
did, yeah, please.
Yeah, I've got a question on that then. So if someone was to say, no, I don't want the next stage because they really feed into this uncertainty in the middle that I feel you projected, if you were to then ask that person, why did you say no? They would never, or my experience is, they would never say, oh, because I felt this way. They would give you another reason as to why they said no. Why is it that someone wouldn't be open with, hey, the reason it's a no is I felt because of that's where the gold for you would be, and for them in being, I suppose, open and honest. So where, why is the
Yeah, you have such good questions, Samuel. Like, thank you for that. So, first of all, I wouldn't ask, why did you say no?
Oh
What?
no, I wouldn't either. Just to clarify that,
But
I
but
would
but
never
I
either.
I I want to play along because there is a way to do
Okay,
that. Okay,
right.
so it's
Ah,
it's it's not a bad thing. I want to play with the idea. Okay, so
mm,
why can be great question at certain points. Like for example, during objection handling, you let them tell, like you ask them, why do you think this would help you? Or you ask them, do you think this would help you? They say yes, and you ask why. That's a great way to, a great place to ask why. But why you said no, it sounds accusatory. The very to You can ask the very same thing of, oh, uh, that's awesome, and I'm curious, what made you say no? You ask the same thing, but it's like it doesn't it doesn't sound accusatory. Oh, that's interesting, I really appreciate that. What made you say no? Now, why people don't say straight? Two reasons. One, they don't want to hurt you. Like people just want to be nice, and I think it's a great thing. And at the same time, like it would be so awesome if we could have always these very useful deep conversations, but that's not how we work. The second is that they don't have the awareness. Like it's very rare that someone's, oh, when you said that, I had this sinking feeling, and like we, unless we already in a deep coaching relationship, people stay on a surface level because that's its place in communication, right? There are places for deep conversations, there are places for surface level conversations. So uh, I guess if you would have said no, and I gracefully want to inquire into it, right? So let's say, hey Samuel, would you like? I'm just gonna give you like a very short, not good invitation. Hey Samuel, would you like to take on this discovery call that I'm offering?
no, thank you. No, I wouldn't.
Oh, great! I love it. Thank you for being honest with me. Uh, Actually, can I ask something from you?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It would be a lot of service to me. Like, first of all, I really appreciate your choice, and it's cool. Like, this is just an offer, and I just want you to know that our relationship is like gonna stay the same. Love you, and we can connect. It would really help me if you could give me a bit of feedback. Would you be open to that? I would love to hear what made you say no so I can kind of understand and improve. Can I ask for
Mm.
feedback?
Yes, yeah, you can.
Okay, so
do
you
you
don't
have?
have to give feedback right now, but
Mm,
probably I could have done it shorter. Like this
mm.
is how it, it likely would come out of me. And I'm curious, how was it for you to hear that, or how was it on the other side?
It's a one. It's an example of like recovering in the moment. Like it, um, it. I know logistically or whatever the word is because you're so practiced. Um, uh, you always recover. That's what it felt like. You were leading at all times. Like you literally, it's like a living example of you falling down and getting back up as you asked for the feedback after the
What was your experience hearing it? Like how did that feel for you?
when
What
you
thoughts
gave the
came through?
invitation.
Not the
Um,
invitation, but after you said no, like how was it for you?
uh, re reassuring, and it felt grateful. You were grateful for. I need the emotion wheel. That no, is it the feeling wheel? It's an amazing wheel that has a load of emotions and feelings on because I can't articulate actually what I'm feeling, but I felt, um, yeah, you were kind, understanding, reassuring that things weren't gonna go sideways between us. Um, that, that thankful for the answers I was going to give to the feedback you wanted. Um, it felt like it went exactly how it should have gone.
Mm, amazing. And so I tell you a secret. I made a rule for myself. So whenever I got to know, there is that pity side of me which like wants to do throw a tantrum, wants to feel self, like all of the things that you imagine, right? So there is that part of my personality somewhere, right? And I can go there if I want. And so I also noticed that if I don't want to go there, there is another side of me which is abundant and grateful and graceful and leading and all of. I have both. And so I realized that there is a fork in the road, and there is a clear cut decision that I got to make when I receive a no. And I realized that, like, I made this rule for myself that as soon as I got to know, I'm gonna champion the person. Like, it's just super simple. Like, when I get to know, I'm gonna be like championing, like almost like mechanically I can do that even if I'm triggered, right? And that became a second nature. And actually, when you learn about objection handling, what do they teach? You want to match the energy, you want to validate wherever they at. So I need to speak to my partner. Great, awesome. And before you speak to, I can do even better. I need to speak to my partner. Awesome, great. I have a partner myself as well. Um, Absolutely, that's like actually a smart move. But before you go and speak to your partner, may I ask a question? So, so what did I do? I made it okay. I matched their their objection. May I ask a question? And asking a question, actually, I'm moving forward. I'm going to ask. So I'm actually continuing with the sales like nothing happened, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Mm.
when I get a clear no, and like I get so many no's that like a lot. Just even to this call today, I sent out 27 um, invitations. The two of you showed up, so that's an average day for me, right? Um, so when someone sends me a no, hey, um, I have family event coming up. awesome, great, enjoy your time with your family. It's going to be amazing. Have a great fun. Catch up with you next time. And so I want to gracefully close, almost like they say no, I say doubly no, right? In this case, because I rather maintain the relationship, right? To be able to invite at any time. And what I noticed, that if I make it okay for them to say no, they are open for me to ask the next time, the next time, the next time, because they didn't have a bad experience me selling them. And it only what was is that I never disagree with their no. Either I gracefully say, awesome, brilliant, I love you for that, you can go and enjoy your life, or I agree with it, I totally understand that this is not the right time for you, I definitely want you to be able to make the right decision at the right time, and I'm curious in when you gonna think about what's the right time, what things you're gonna think about, what things do you really need to consider, would you share that with me? So like you see, like there are ways to be curious without disagreeing, because as soon as we disagree, we come into a headbutting territory, and that headbutting is what we have experienced, or that covert manipulation is that what we have experienced as bad sales. When the reason we don't have a good opinion of sales, because whenever we are sold well, that doesn't register as sales, it registers as something normal. So we associate the bad things with sales, because those are the only situations which register for us.
Yeah, can I share two things that come up for me that really stand out?
Of course.
Thank you for everything you've shared, by the way, because it's so it's going to be applicable to everyone who watches this recording in whatever line of work they're in, because it's such a universal truth. But what jumps out to me is the answer they give you, the answer the prospect or whatever it is gives you, is the right answer. It's exactly the answer that you wanted to hear. So they can say anything and you're going to say, awesome, fantastic. That's exactly what you wanted to hear. So it's almost like you know how you're going to be after it's like you're going to give the invitation, they're going to say whatever, but regardless of whatever they say, you're going to be fantastic about it afterwards, because it's exactly what you wanted to hear from them. So that maintains the whole friendship, the relationship. And I can only speak to me, but I hope this resonates with any other coaches watching the call, or maybe even you. Is that I immediately want to jump into coach mode and handle it as an objection, as opposed to that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thanks so much. And that's a very different way of thinking about their answer.
Yeah. So the
awesome.
thing about objection handling, so the difference is, like, I can accept the no, say like, that's amazing, thank you for the no. And for in some cases, I don't handle objections, right? In this case of someone not accepting a discovery call, I'm not going to handle objections, because I think in that small offer, trying to handle objections, it's such a small offer that it just comes off as I'm trying to sell. So I just don't have really room to handle objections. In sales, when we talk about working together, remember that I set up the whole process, that when we on a call working together, it's similar like with Gary, is that we both know that we're going to talk about working together. So it makes sense for me to ask all the money questions and to handle objections, right? So when someone says no to a discovery offer, I'm not going to handle objections because, or when I invite into an event, and I'm not going to handle objections. I might be curious what made them say no if I really want to push it, or I don't know, but I don't really go there. If I handle objections, I still agree and ask the question anyway, right? So I think the wrong way or the salesy way of handling objection is to say, like, it's a lot of money. Yeah, but I'm really experienced and I'm bringing a fresh perspective and we have a great team and amazing product. Yeah, like, who cares, right? It's like, or I don't know, like going into that convincing mode, right? So that's why so objection handling is match, pivot, match, pivot, match, pivot, which means like, I need to talk to my partner. Amazing. Like, before you go and talk to your partner, may I ask a question? Do you feel like working with someone like myself would get you the results? Yes. Oh, interesting. Why do you feel that way? Have them tell me, right? Okay, cool. So I'm curious, like, uh, does your partner want you to get X, Y, Z? Yes. Why does she wants you to get X, Y, Z? Because da 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 da. So it's like, asking, let them, I'm leading them by them leading the whole thing, right? So uh, so again, the way to handle objections is not to fight, match, and pivot. That's that itself, objection handling is a whole art, and I still have a lot to grow in that area, to be honest.
Yeah, hey, I'm sure, like I saw, thank you for that. Thank you. And really just picking up the importance of don't objection handle a discovery call, which I'm probably very tempted to like want to do because I know the value of it's like wanting to wake people up to their greatness. Like it's wrong for me to like go up to someone and slap them around the face with a wet fish,
because you want to
it,
get them somewhere, and
exactly,
that
and that's on me. Yeah,
and that violates the safety part. So I might very much want you to coach with me because I know if we're going to coach, your life going to change, right? And if I come from that energy, I can even tell you, but I need to tell you from a place that I'm still okay for you to say no. If I tell you that, right? I can have a strong stance and that can be incredibly convincing, that kind of confidence, but I still have to make room for the no. If you feel that I try to make you to sign up with me or do the thing, what will you do?
retract and retreat and say no.
Exactly.
And damage the relationship or what have you. You would go down the relationship scale.
Exactly. So that's why we don't want to go there. So essentially, it's like water through the cracks. That's how we want to be. Water through the cracks is that we never want to go to that place where we forcing the prospect, but we can lead gently through clever questioning and maintaining their autonomy. So giving them the no and even challenging the yes sometimes. So especially in the proposal, you can even lean back, and while even you challenging them, are you sure you want to do this? I only work with committed people. So if you're not 100% sure, hey, don't do this. A matter of fact, Give me two people you can talk to who will talk you out of this. Like, that's a very ballsy thing. I did a couple of times, but that had them, oh, like, why is he saying that? Like, it's energy.
Thank you, man. I can't wait to hear how this lands with other people, but particularly like Gary, I want to hear
Yeah, me too.
what this has meant to him, and how we can take it into his world.
Yeah, so first of all, I would say take my silence as a compliment. You know, I've learned through my years on this earth that when people are saying things that are useful to you, even if you're getting ideas, just shut up and listen. You know, take it all in what they're saying. So that's what I was doing there, is just listening carefully and considering everything that was being said and thinking how it could be applied to my own experience. And yeah, the thing that really came out from there for me was all of this really is matching their energy. You're asking them questions because you're trying to align with their energy or their mindset or where they are currently. You're asking questions to do the left side of the gap of understanding, right? Let me get a good picture of where you are right now and what you need, what you want. And then I'll start gently leading you towards over the gap of like where we want to get you to. That's where I'll take over and gradually lead you there. But it wasn't that the tactic changed, is that still it was with questions and essentially utilizing the connection, deepening the connection and the safety with the person to gently lead them there to the other side of the gap. So that's what I was learning from it, is all the time you must match their energy, whether they give you a no, whether they're giving you a yes, whether they're unsure, whether they're ambivalent. It doesn't matter, really. You're just going, I'm here to understand exactly where you are, and I will match that and then gently lead you to the next step of, you know, where we're going, the other side of the gap. So that was the thing I took in my notes, was it's all matching their energy from the start of the call to the end. That's the pattern recognition part of me, of that's really what you're doing in that call. You know, if you were doing like a TLDR, like too long didn't read, like what's this about? I, for me personally, from my notes, that's the sentence I'll be taking from it, is match their energy from start to finish, and you'll probably have achieved what you wanted to out of the call, and hopefully what they wanted also out of the call. So thank you, Viktor and Sam. That was really useful to hear that conversation between you as well.
Brilliant. Love that, how you broke it down. Now we are coming to the completion of our session today, and I would like you guys to reflect on your initial request of what you wanted to get out of this session for yourself. And how are you doing with that? Do you feel complete? Do you feel you got today what you needed? If so, what's the answer that you found? Okay, so I give you some time to reflect on that. It's okay as well if it's not. Like, I know often what happens is that we have a lot of information coming to us, and we need a bit of time to process all of that. Now, this time you spend a couple of minutes on it is giving you space to reflect on what you heard. So, Gary, I would love to start with you. What did you bring as a coaching request today, and what did you find as a learning for yourself?
Yeah. I essentially wanted pointers on how to make a consultation call feel authentic and not feel salesy, for lack of a better term. And what I got from this is I tend to think in threes. So I what I learned was you need to, in that, to make it authentic, you need to match their energy, constantly ask questions, and then lead them gently and calmly towards the finish line or the gap, the other end of the gap. That's what I got from it. That will make it feel authentic and not salesy.
Great. And what could you do or try out or practice to implement what you learned today?
Yeah, the first thing I put in my notes when I'm writing, if there's lots of information, I put AP, which stands for action point to me. And what I put as my action point was make a list of questions that are good questions to ask to different responses, whether it's an objection or it's what's a good question to ask right at the start of the call that would set things up in motion. So what I took from it is my quality of questions needs to improve. You know, that essentially needs to become my script or like my calling card of, okay, the prospect said this. What's a good question to ask in response to that? Because at the moment, they wouldn't be right there at the tip of my tongue. I'd have to think quite a bit. So that's an action point that I can do right now that I think would directly improve how I do consultation calls with people, is that list of really good questions to ask.
Amazing. Love it. Samuel, brother.
Yeah.
Your time.
So I came today essentially asking, why is it that I find when I want to invite people into the next phase of the enrollment process that they could feel they're being sold to, and as a result say no? I wanted to understand that. And what I've understood as a result of this is you make every thing that the client says or the prospect says, everything anyone is ever saying to you after an invitation is the right thing. It's exactly what you wanted to hear. So you validate that, you become a cheerleader for that choice, and you don't handle it. If it's, unless it's a proposal and it's about, hey, this is the time when you're going to decide to pay me money and work with me, yes or no. If you're not at that stage, you don't handle the objection as I may view it, because it's petty, it's small, you're not at that point. And so for me, it's to come from, regardless of whether I have the numbers or not, it's to come from the place of abundance. So to be accepting of whatever someone says, so they don't feel that, because it's all about energy exchange. That definitely, yeah, that all comes through for me, and I've no doubt a load more, but that's what really comes out.
Amazing. Love it. And you know, like knowing you and your process, this will be something that will help you a lot. And I think currently, you know, with the practice will come the relaxation, and you know, with that relaxation will come the energy, and
Yes,
like
thank you.
then the
Thank you.
yeses. So
Yes, yeah.
in order to implement what you learned today, what could you do, try, or practice in the next weeks?
I will run all of these learnings and understandings through the chat GPT that we've spoken about, so I have a clearer understanding of what it is I've learned, how I can break it down, and like put this newfound energy out into the world and see how it lands with people. And I forget exactly what you said at the end there, but be okay with people saying no, or that's, be okay with people being where they're at. So I suppose being work, but also, and this is why I need to rewatch the recording to be honest, to really understand what these action points are, because there was a point linked back to the places I need to come from.
Mm. Okay, I didn't catch the last sentence. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I have a mix of action points, so steps, actual actions that I need to take and implement, but also I have to work on the place that I come from as I implement them.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So maybe share with me later what once you have the action step, because it's really important to be able to voice, to have something tangible, like this is what I'm going to do. Okay. So I understand you don't have something right now, but I would love to hear once you rewatch the recording, okay, Viktor, these are my action points. Okay. All right, guys, Gary, Samuel, thank you for being here today. And I wasn't wrong. Like, it was very much worth it. I hope that it was worth it for you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Viktor and Samuel.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Have a
Cheers,
wonderful
Viktor.
weekend. And I would love to hear what's your experience with everything that you learned today. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. See you, Gary. See you, Viktor. Bye.
Bye, guys.